Hello and howdy there, folks. I'm here to talk about the new film from Joss Whedon, Much Ado About Nothing. It's a Shakespeare adaptation that he wrote. Actually, he did pretty much everything to do with the film. He directed it, he produced it, he edited it, he scored it, what else? Wrote it, or adapted it at least. He shot it at his own house. So yeah, it's pretty clear that he wanted to tell this story. Perhaps it's his favorite story. You could certainly tell that there's a lot of passion in the project. I mean, that love, that energy comes off of the screen, and really it's kind of magical. I have no problems giving it an 8. Kind of when I walked out, I kind of wanted to give it a 9. But I kind of talked myself down from that, just because, I just give most of the credit to Shakespeare. This is Shakespeare, and he is Shakespeare. So it's, I think the best qualities of it, I think, are, you got to give credit to him, and, I think the more I thought about the filmmaking of it, I reeled myself in a little bit, but, Shakespeare is the bard, and he's like, the original, so it's kind of tough to, differentiate, It's obviously an excellent adaptation. He wanted to tell this story, beautifully photographed. It's in black and white. It's just gorgeous to look at. I'm not sure how, I haven't read Much Ado About Nothing probably since college. I know I've read it a couple times. I think I had to read it in high school. No, I had to read it in college. But I haven't read it since, and I remembered it. I remembered the gist of the story, but it definitely felt totally fresh, new. It's an ancient story that it is brought into the most modern of times. It does take some getting used to, I suppose. Listening to the Old English and having everything else be, modern day. It's kind of, again, you just gotta get your footing, in the first 5 minutes of the film. It's kind of like, in a way, sensory overload. You have to adapt, quickly. But after you do, I think it's so enjoyable. As I was, for the entire day after, watching this film, I was like in my head speaking in Old English. So it's easy to, well, I guess if you're an English speaker, it doesn't take too much effort to kind of revert back to that old school style of talking. Just to even call it old school is an understatement. But it is just beautiful language. In fact, in a way, I would go so far as to call it hypnotic. It just kind of takes you away, and really in the hands of the right actors, which that's really the strongest point of this film is the casting. In the hands of the right actors, it's music. It's music, and it's just fantastic. It's fantastic. So the writing, and I guess why I brought up, I can't really remember it, is I don't know what Whedon altered all that much. I think mostly when you come to adapting Shakespeare, it's taking out something to make it more movie friendly, in terms of running length. That's why I was trying to remember the actual play, is I don't remember how long it was. was. If it was unedited, if it was unabridged, like Kenneth Branagh did with Hamlet. What was that? A number of years ago. Is it as much as 20 years ago? I can't remember. But again, that version of Hamlet, that unabridged version of Hamlet, I think was damn near 4 hours, if not over 4 hours. And I was kind of wondering, Much Ado is right at pretty much 2 hours. I think it was 1 hour and 56. So I was wondering how long it would have been had it been unabridged. But really, I think the story just was as smooth as possible. In fact, that's the only reason I'm not giving it a higher rating is that smoothness. Everything just seemed to come together. And that helped with the beauty and the hypnotic nature of the film. But it, again, it was just like all, kind of all too easy. I don't know if there's a better way I can put that, but it was just like all too easy. Like, I haven't even said what the film's about. Okay, so they're having a big party at, a rich guy's house, very important fella, and all of his guests are, also rich and important, basically bringing some families together. And while at that party, I guess a guy falls in love with a girl, and then just right then, he sees her, he falls in love, says, okay, we need to get married, and it's just like they turn around and, they're getting married, that weekend at the house, and, they're calling in friars and what have you. That's just, maybe it's more that, nothing like that exists in this day and age, that maybe that's how it actually went down, but it just seems so, like, convenient. And really, I mean, to turn around, I almost mean that literally. Like, they just turn around and walk outside to the backyard and get married. The story is about love. It's one of Shakespeare's comedy, if not his most popular comedy. There's no real tragedy to it. There's obviously moments of drama, intense drama, but there's no tragedy. It's very light, it's very breezy, but yet it, deals with potentially the most painful topic of all, and that's love. And I think it provides an incredible amount of insight into love. It's almost, again, I guess that's why he's Shakespeare, it just provides this timeless wisdom that will be, it was true in his day, it's true today, and it will be true, another 500 years from now. So it's just power, and that's why I can't get so excited is because, you can watch a staged reading of this play and be absolutely thrilled. So that's why I kind of have to look at it not from that, amazing, point of amazement. What else do I want to say? I don't know if I finished. Okay, so, the girl says yes, she loves him back. And then a jealous brother, who wants the girl for himself, goes about a plot to ruin their relationship, and does so for a time. All this is happening while two of our main characters, who have all their lives pretty much sworn off and been highly verbal about their distaste of love, we watch them fall in love. So it's all about love and the pain and joy that it brings. I wish I could tell you more of the actors. There were, a lot of unfamiliar faces to me, but there were some familiar faces. Clark Gregg it's tough. I guess he's the host of the party. I was about to call him the main character, but I don't think that's fair. He's the host of the party. he's really good. I mean, all the acting is really solid. There isn't like a bad performance in the bunch. Perhaps there's kind of again, I was trying to remember the source material, but there's kind of some underdeveloped characters, like mostly the bad guy. And if there's ever moments of like cheese, you know, like everyone's having a nice, delightful time, having a good conversation, and then the bad guy walks in, and he just looks like the bad guy. You know, he doesn't, you know, try to conceal. There's no subtlety to his performance. You know, there's no subtlety to the performance, and there's also like everything about him lacks subtlety. Like when he comes on, there's a musical cue that pretty much goes dun dun dun. You know, and I mean, I'm not exaggerating. Like when he comes onto the screen, it's just like dun dun, and it's like, yeah, okay, you know, we get that he's bad. You know, you don't need to. Again, it was just like he seemed to be. I would have to go back to the source material to see if he was just that kind of a sideline character and that just kind of one note, but. You know, I didn't really understand his motivations, you know, too much, and you know, he is the bad guy, and so you gotta know your bad guy. Clark Gregg, Nate Faxon, I believe that's his name. Nate, he's Castle from the show, and he was also from the Whedonverse, Firefly. He was the main guy on that. I believe his name is Nate Faxon. He played the constable. He was very funny. He was very funny. He got a lot of, just the story got a lot of laughs. I mean, it's funny. You know, I laughed a lot. You know, maybe not like guffaw, like knee slappers, but there are pleasant jokes, you know, throughout. And they're all very acute and very aware, and knowledgeable. You know, they're all very true. You know, and that's kind of, they're funny because they're true. Who else? Oh, Franz Kranz. He's also from the Whedonverse. He was in The Cabin in the Woods. He's also a Shakespearean actor, stage actor, so he was really good here. He maybe had the most, no, I don't know, I was going to say he had the most heavy lifting, but there's a lot more people in the film, and I do not know really any more names, but I'll tell you what, now I'm not going to forget their faces. You know, now I know who they are, and they certainly delivered memorable performances. I feel this is a highly successful Shakespeare adaptation, definitely one of my favorites, of recent memory, at least. I really enjoyed the Ethan Hawke Hamlet, that kind of brought it forward into modern day. I think my favorite Shakespeare adaptation, you know, for recent times is Richard III, one where Ian McKellen plays the Mad King, and it's set in, what is it? It's Nazi Germany, right? I still think about that. I think Ian McKellen is just, I don't know, he was perfect in that role, and that's probably why I remember it so well, is he was just like, you know, a neutron star. But this was just highly enjoyable. You know, I came out, and it, you know, it's the basis of pretty much all modern romantic comedy, and even, you know, most romantic comedies can't touch it, even though they just practically plagiarize it. And you know, I just felt like I was walking on air afterwards. It was just delightful, just breezy and delightful, hypnotic in a way. Again, the lyricism of the language is just absolutely musical, and you know, the actors just bring it to life. I guess another impressive, this is like famously shot in like 3 weeks, like right after he got done, I think doing post-production and editing on the Avengers, He basically, just to decompress, made this movie. You know, he invited his friends over and made a movie in his house for 3 weeks. And, you know, that's what Whedon's going to get to do now. You know, he's got pretty much artistic freedom for the rest of his career, you know, unless something strange happens. And really, I don't think that will. I think he's pretty much, you know, one of the new guard of Hollywood. And he's going to be able to do what he wants to do for the rest of his career. And that's, you know, quite impressive. And the fact that he wants to do stories like this is, I'd say, even more impressive. I guess that's about it. Again, obviously beautifully written, beautifully acted, beautifully directed and shot. Just kind of, again, I can't think of why I'm not giving it a higher rating than an 8. But it's just, you know, I thought the bad guy was just a little bit cheesy. And the way he was handled, just a little bit cheesy, and just to have everything fall together so perfectly, you know, just kind of, you know, I never got a sense of much time passing. You know, the entire film could have taken place in an afternoon, but yet I know that it didn't. You know, I know that time passes, but there's no, you know, there's no sense of time. I never got any passage of time, which again I think goes with the hypnotic nature and just being swept away with the film and the story. But, you know, I just thought about that later. It was just like, how much time passed in there? Because, you know, people had beards and they didn't have beards, and, you know, whatever. Feelings developed and changed, and things happened. I'm just like, how much time passed? You know, what are we looking at here? And that's just kind of that usage of time, and just how everything kind of just fell together, seemed really convenient for me, and again kind of plays into that breezy delightfulness of it. But I was just like, well, that was all too easy, you know. So I think that's like the only reason why I'm not giving it a higher score. So I think it's very deserving of its, you know, 8. You know, I think it's a solid 8. And definitely gorgeous, you know, and definitely unique. It's not making a ton of money. You know, it's been in limited to release for some time now, maybe as much as 3 weeks. I felt I needed to see it because I'm going on vacation, and I think it's just going to be out of theaters before I know it. And I definitely wanted to see it on the big screen before, you know, it came to video. So I guess there you go. I don't think I have much else to say. So that's Joss Whedon's adaptation of Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, and I give it a solid 8. Thank you very much.